What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for our finale on the Re.2005 by Sword. Today we're going to jump on in there, we're going to get some decals done, get some weathering done, wrap up this awesome little project. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started. Now last time we went ahead and overcoated the aircraft with 2 gloss coats. Everything is ready, nice and smooth for our decaling. We're going to use our basic decaling process and these look pretty nice. They're made by TechMod, but we've got our hot water, we've got our microsaw, microset. We're going to grab our brushes, we're just going to dive on in and we're going to get started. Hopefully we'll go really well. Again, there's not a lot of decals for the particular version I'm going to be doing. There are honestly just a couple of national markings, couple of unit markings. That's about it. There's not really a whole lot. So because of that, we only have to use a third of this decal sheet. So we're just going to cut off the other sections and we can use those for the spares box. You never know, we might need those markings at some point. We're going to trim them up though and just use these right here, and that should be it. So let's go ahead and jump into our decals. We've got everything we need, our brushes, our solutions, our hot water, everything is good to go. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's get this bird decaled. All right, everybody, so we are back and so far so good. The decals went on beautifully. So now we're going to move over to some oil dot filters. I'm not really that adept at doing these, but I've got different colors like white, some different blues, some browns, yellows, greens. We're going to be using the warmer colors on the top surface for the green and then the cooler colors on the underside for the gray. That should be a nice place to start. So let's go ahead and grab our paintbrushes, just make little dots for different colors all over the aircraft, blend them together with a little bit of odorless mineral spirits, and then we'll come on back and do a little bit of panel line accent wash with some Tamiya panel liners, hit it with the flat coat, and then get on those aerials, get everything finished up, get the nav lights on, mount up the canopy, unmask everything, and I think, fingers crossed, we'll be all finished up. So let's go ahead and jump on in here for our last time lapse. Let's get this plane all wrapped up. All right, everybody, we are back, and after 7 weeks here on the bench, we have finally finished off our Re.2005, and I gotta tell you, it was a really fun project. For being a limited run kit, I'm very surprised that most parts fit together beautifully. All the parts and pieces were really well detailed. My only complaint is it was lacking a gun sight. That's a little bit weird, but other than that, this was a great project and highly recommended. I had a lot of fun building it up, and yeah, I think it's a really neat little addition to the display case. Get you a quick zoom in here. As you can see, I think the colors turned out to be a really nice representation of that Italian green. We've got that post-shade, pre-shade action coming through. I tried to kind of vary the panels by doing some dot filters on it, added in the aerial, added an insulator there on the back, and yeah, for the most part, it looks the part. And I think at 3 feet, it's perfectly fine. There's a couple of little areas here and there that if you zoom in a little bit more, you'll notice a couple of foibles here and there. But again, like everything I typically build, there's a couple of areas I would have done a bit differently, but oh well, we live and learn, we have fun. That's what matters. Going in a little bit farther here on the cockpit, I tried adding in those seat belts. I did include, of course, the aerial mast, and you'll notice a little bit of a connection line here between the canopy and the back of the cockpit. That's something you see on these types of aircraft. And again, I just used Easy Line for both the aerial and that support cable. I'm trying to use up the Easy Line because it isn't necessarily round, it's more flat. So that's something I do want to replace eventually. And then of course, in the zoom in here on the bottom, you can see those brake lines that kind of coil up and around. Those landing gears are very prominent in most of the references. So I added those in. And then I added in that little actuator there on the end wheel bay door. That is a little bit out of scale. It should be a bit smaller, but it's all I had in the stash. And yeah, I think it at least gives you the impression that there's something there, which is really the only reason why I did it. So yeah, that is it, guys. We are all finished up. The Sword Re.2005 Sagittario was a great project. Highly recommended if you like Italian aircraft. I don't know if they still make this kit, but if they do, you might want to check it out. Didn't have really too many fit issues. The only trouble I had was a little bit between the fuselage and the wing joint. It sits a tiny bit proud on the wing side of it, just a tiny bit, like 0.5 millimeter. Not even that noticeable, but it's there. So just to be aware, you might do a little bit more work and you can actually remove that. But otherwise, everything else fell together pretty decently for a limited run kit. The decals were flawless. I love them. Paint went on beautifully. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. And that does it for 2023 Military Mondays. We don't have enough time to do any more builds. Next week, we're going to move in to the 12 sprues. We're going to push into that holiday build series, and that's going to take up most of the month of December. So yeah, this is the last Military Mondays we're going to do for 2023. We'll be back in 2024 with hopefully more builds, more projects, and more fun. So until then, guys, you guys know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. Tune in next time for the first episode of 12 Sprues of Kitmas. So be safe, take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.